So earlier this week on Tuesday, I dropped a video talking about the Texans GM situation. And then 3 or 4 hours after I dropped that video, it came out that the Texans decided to make Bill O'Brien the GM. Now, in that video, I pretty much guaranteed that Nick Caserio would be the Texans GM after the draft. Now, I still think that will be the case. The Texans are still gonna get Nick Caserio, but he's not gonna be the GM. At least I don't think so, unless Bill O'Brien's a temporary GM, interim GM, whatever you want to call him. They didn't announce it as that, they just called him a GM. So, who knows what's going to happen, but I am still 100% convinced that the Texans will get Nick Caserio. Just look at the facts. Like I stated in the last video, Nick Caserio could have easily declined the Texans GM job offer, but he's clearly interested. The Texans clearly want him. He's got 2 buddies already in the front office, Bill O'Brien, Jack Easterby. And not only that, the Texans have fired like a few, front office guys. Like notable one, Chris Olsen, the guy that negotiated all the contracts. Nick Caserio's coming. He is definitely coming after the draft. And he's probably going to bring some New England buddies with him. I can guarantee it. Now, I saw some people on Twitter, on YouTube, commenting on my previous video from Tuesday. They were pissed about Bill O'Brien being named the GM. If you're pissed about Bill O'Brien being named the GM, then you just like being pissed at, nothing, pretty much. You just like being pissed off for no reason. Because if you're pissed off that Bill O'Brien was named GM, you're pretty much getting pissed off about something that's been going on for the past 7+ months. Bill O'Brien has been the Texans GM since Brian Gain got fired in early July in 2019? Bill O'Brien's been the GM. Who traded Clowney? Bill O'Brien. Who traded for Tunsil? Bill O'Brien. Who traded for Conley? Bill O'Brien. Who traded for Duke Johnson and Carlos Hyde? Bill O'Brien. That was all Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien has already been the GM. Now, personally, I think Bill O'Brien is a good GM. I know a lot of people could think differently, but for the most part, I think Bill O'Brien is a good GM when it comes to the whole trading aspect of things. And in the last video, we talked about the Laramie Tunsil trade. And look, I guess I can somewhat understand why someone doesn't like Bill O'Brien as a GM. Some people just love their picks. They just love having draft picks. And to me, I think there has to be a balance in what you're doing. You have to have draft picks, but you also don't absolutely have to hold on to every single one of them. If you can get a player like Garyon Conley, Laramie Tunsil, you absolutely do it. I don't think we overpaid for either. Duke Johnson, some people might say we overpaid, but if the Texans would have used him properly, then you guys would have a different opinion on that. Now, draft picks. Look, there has to be a balance with the whole trading picks. I've seen some people saying, trade the picks for this, trade the rest of the picks for that. You can't do that. You can only trade for so many players, because if you keep trading your draft picks and you're left with no draft picks, by the way, we're going to have 7 or 8 draft picks this upcoming draft, so we have some draft picks. So, if you're left with 1 or 2 draft picks, then there's going to come a situation or a time where you're going to have to re-sign all these players immediately, and you're going to be screwed pretty much. You're not going to have enough cap space to re-sign them. Now, if you keep the draft picks, you draft young players, you have nice, cheap depth players, and some of those players might even end up being, Justin Reed, a third-round pick. Benardrick McKinney, Zach Cunningham, 2 second-round picks. They don't have to be first-round picks for them to be good. You could draft a good player in the later rounds, an impact player in the later rounds. So you have to have those draft picks as well. Like I said, you can't trade all your picks, but what the Texans did, what Bill O'Brien did, I think he did a good job in getting a player like Laramie Tunsil, Garyon Conley, really good players. The Texans GM situation isn't the only thing I want to talk about today. Another thing I want to talk about is, there's some trade rumors going around. I have honestly no idea where they came from. But, I've seen a lot of people ask me in streams, in the comment sections. I've seen it on Twitter. The Texans are trading Benardrick McKinney. I didn't see anyone with a reliable source even hint towards it. So, one, I just wouldn't believe it because I haven't seen anyone say it. Two, doing so would be the dumbest thing ever. You do not trade Benardrick McKinney. And there's many reasons why you do not trade McKinney. Number one, you trade McKinney, then congratulations. You're just letting Derrick Henry run all over you. Because, Derrick Henry, he ran all over everyone this past season, late in the season, except for one team. The Texans. Benardrick McKinney was a big reason why. Now, McKinney, understand this. When McKinney was drafted, it was known by everyone that McKinney was not a coverage linebacker. McKinney was a straight-up run stuffer, run thumper. That's what McKinney is. It is not McKinney's fault that Romeo Crennel was putting him in coverage. That's on Crennel, not on McKinney. McKinney is only playing his assignment, and if his assignment is to run to the sideline after, or, during every play, not even bother, doing anything, then that's what McKinney's going to do, because that's his assignment. So if McKinney's being asked to cover, that's on Crennel. That's not on McKinney being a player. That's Crennel not using McKinney to his strengths. Thankfully, Crennel gone now. Well, he's not gone, but he's not the DC anymore. So hopefully, with Anthony Weaver, we don't got to deal with that. McKinney, like I said, though, he is a run thumper. He stops the run. He shoots the gap. He's 6'5", 250 pounds. He can stop Derrick Henry. If McKinney meets Derrick Henry in the hole, guess what? Henry isn't going anywhere. McKinney does it time and time again. And you want to know what happens when McKinney isn't out there? Well, McKinney suffered a concussion against Tennessee, and he didn't play against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay had one of the worst run offenses in the NFL. When we played Tampa Bay in Week 16, they ran all over the Texans. You know why? Because McKinney wasn't there. Now you see how important McKinney is. McKinney is your run thumper. You need a guy like McKinney at the linebacker position. Zach Cunningham is your cover guy. McKinney, he's your run stopper, your run thumper. Not only that, the dude is only getting $10 million a year. That is cheap. We're robbing McKinney. We are straight up robbing him. I've seen other terrible linebackers that can't do anything get $9 million. I think KC signed Hitchens a couple years ago for $9 or $10 million a year. And he's trash. McKinney, he's a really good run stopper. And he's getting $10 million. You keep McKinney. Like I said, if you trade McKinney, then scrub teams are going to run all over you. You know, the Titans, they love to run the ball. Leonard Fournette, another big running back. McKinney can stop him. And he got the Colts as well. They love to run the ball. We're in a division where our opponents want to run the ball. McKinney, he stops the run. You need McKinney. Now, not only that, let's say you trade McKinney. Now what? What are you going to do? Zach Cunningham's your only linebacker, pretty much. But Zach Cunningham, you know, he can cover well. He's a decent run stopper, but he's not as good a run stopper as McKinney. Cunningham sometimes misses tackles. And, you know, Dylan Cole, yeah, you know Dylan Cole's cool and all, but first of all, you got to resign him. Second of all, how many games is he going to play? 3 or 4? Is it going to be Zach Cunningham and Peter Colombaye out there for you? You know? Like, there is no reason to trade Benardrick McKinney and create another hole on your team. It is pointless. So, this whole McKinney trade rumors, I don't think they're true. And 2, if the Texans were to trade McKinney, that would be one of the dumbest things they could possibly do. And if you think the Texans should trade McKinney, well then I hope I convinced you otherwise, because McKinney cannot go. And now the last thing I want to talk about. Roby. I think it was Lance Sirline. He said that Roby is pretty much gone. Doesn't know why, but Roby is done with Houston now. Like he said, he doesn't know why. Now, if he doesn't know why, then clearly I don't know why. It could be anything. Maybe he hates Romeo Crennel. Maybe he hates Bill O'Brien. Maybe he can't make friends in the locker room. Maybe he just doesn't like the way Houston smells. Maybe he doesn't like the way Jonathan Joseph smells. You know, Joseph probably smells like old people. Like, it could be literally anything. It could be contract related. Like, literally, it could be anything. Now, the way I feel about that is, I'm kind of like, I have mixed opinions on it. Because, one, yeah, Roby did good for us this year. But the Texans also have Garyon Conley, who I do think is our best corner, by the way. I think Roby is number 2. And we have Vernon Hargreaves, who's our nickel corner. But then we also have Lonnie Johnson. You know, we invested a second-round pick on Lonnie Johnson. So, you know, if you keep Roby, obviously you're keeping Conley. You're keeping Hargreaves. They might restructure his contract, but I do think we're keeping Hargreaves as well. And then Lonnie is kind of the odd man out, you know? Like, I don't think that's right, you know? I think that would technically be a waste of a second-round pick. So I do think that it's very possible that the Texans let Roby walk and end up getting a third-round comp pick for the next draft season. And they go into the season with Garyon Conley as their number 1 corner, Lonnie Johnson as their number 2 corner, and Vernon Hargreaves as their nickel corner. Now, Conley. Like I said, I love Garyon Conley. The dude was balling out. The dude goes for the ball. He rips it out. Like, he never gives up on the play. He was playing injured. You know, apparently he had something wrong with his ankle. He had a hamstring injury. He had something wrong with his neck, too. The dude was, like, all sorts of banged up, and he still balled out. Vernon Hargreaves. Now, dude's inconsistent. He has good moments, but he also has, like, you know, what are you doing moments, and plays where he just completely misses a tackle. But he's 24 years old. I think he can get better, and you also got to consider Vernon Hargreaves came in, like, really late into the season, so he's going to have a whole off season to train with the DBs, the DB coach, and get acclimated to Houston. And I think that's going to do wonders for him, especially when you consider he's 24 years old. You know, he's still developing. All of our corners are still developing. So I think we'll be fine at the number 1 corner spot and the nickel corner spot. Where I am worried is Lonnie Johnson. I'm not sure if Lonnie Johnson can take that next step. Lonnie Johnson, yes, he did make some good plays, but he also had some terrible plays. So Lonnie Johnson has to clean up his game, the little holding calls. He's got to learn how to turn his head around. And he's got to be quicker with his cuts, because there's some times, and I've seen this on Twitter, by the way, someone said this: when Lonnie Johnson churns, he's like a sailboat, or something around those lines. And I agree, there's like some moments where it looks crisp, not gonna lie, but there's also some moments where like he churns so slow and breaks on the ball so slow. But he's a rookie. That's expected. Rookie corners, it's hard for them to transition quickly to the NFL game from college. Unless you're Jalen Ramsey, of course, and, dude just balls out from week one. But for any other corner, it's pretty difficult. So, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go with Lonnie Johnson, but I can see why the Texans would choose to move on from Roby. Not only that, apparently, from what I heard, Roby is going to make like $14 million a year. And I really don't think the Texans are in a situation where they can afford to pay a player like Roby $14 million a year. Like, Roby, he did some good things for us this year, not going to lie. But $14 million a year, to me, that is shut down corner money. To me, that is Darius Slay, Jalen Ramsey, Tre'Davious White, Stephon Gilmore. To me, that's those type of player money. That is not Roby money. Roby, to me, should be like $10 million a year. So, yeah, I don't think we can afford to be overpaying all these players, because we already overpaid Merciless. I mean, you can afford to overpay maybe one or two players, but we kind of wasted that on overpaying Merciless. So, yeah, now we could really only afford to overpay one player, and, I'd rather it be DJ Reader than Roby. I'd rather it be Zach Cunningham than Roby. I'd rather it be Arik Armstead than Roby. I'd rather it be Yannick Ngakoue than Roby. I'd rather it be Byron Jones than Roby. I'd rather it be John Weeks than Roby, who, by the way, John Weeks is a free agent, so the Texans better get to work on that. And yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the whole Texans, Bill O'Brien GM, the whole McKinney trade, and the Roby rumors. Because I don't know if those rumors are true. Rumors are rumors. You never know when they're true, So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys for today. Comment down below your opinions on Bill O'Brien being named the GM, your opinions on the McKinney trade rumors, and the Roby leaving rumors. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.